exciting. See you there. Today we are at the Vanderbilt mansion in Hudson Valley, New York. So a little context for people who don't know who the Vanderbilts are. Maybe you're familiar with The Gilded Age, which is an HBO show. The Vanderbilts were a really rich family. So Cornelius Vanderbilt was the first person to make an empire out of the railroad companies. Frederick's father expands the business, and when he passes away, he leaves his 8 children about $200 million, which is around $6 billion today. With this money, Frederick decides to buy 700 acres of land in Hyde Park, New York. He builds his home, which took about 26 months to build, which is relatively quickly for the time. So this house has 54 rooms, each bedroom has their own bathroom, and it has 24 fireplaces, which are just for decoration because this home has central heating, which is also a luxury at this time period. So the house behind me was designed by the McKean Mead and White Company. So maybe you've heard of them. They are responsible for making the Pennsylvania Station. They also built the Columbia University Library. They also did a renovation in the White House in 1902. So they're known for their very prestigious architecture and working with only the richest people in the States. So the first room to the right of the house is the bathroom. So after being outside all day and horseback riding, playing games, and doing all sorts of activities, they would go into the bathroom and get ready for dinner. Dinner would usually be about 7 courses of all French cuisine with 7 different wines to try out throughout the courses. Off the left of the entrance, there's 2 reception rooms, Louise's and Frederick's. They would go into after dinner for conversation and digestion. Minutes were up, they were all gathered in the parlor room and play games and end the evening. So the small room is Frederick's office. This is not his main office. His main office was in Grand Central. This was to handle business, house business, sign checks for all his 60 full-time employees, which 40 would work outside and 20 would work inside the house. The 2 guest bedrooms on the second floor were meant for the favorite guests. So the closer you were to Louise's and Frederick's bedroom, that meant that you were the most popular and the most favored guest in the house. At this time, wealthy people had 2 different bedrooms. Louise and Frederick really enjoyed European styles, customs, decorations, and they would try to imitate royalty as much as possible. Louise loved French art and architecture, so her bedroom tried to imitate most likely Marie Antoinette's bedroom. The railing was mainly for historical accuracy. She was just a girl who loved vintage things. Frederick was a man who collected tapestry, so his whole room was covered in tapestry instead of wallpaper. The park has decided to remove the tapestry at this time, just until they can find someone to restore them. Wealthy women around this era were getting dressed about 7 times per day. Each activity had their own outfit, so going out horseback riding, getting tea, going out to the town with their friends, every single activity had a different outfit. On the 3rd floor, there would be 15 bedrooms for the female staff, plus other guest bedrooms. These stairs weren't used by the Vanderbilt, it was mainly for staff and workers. The basement is the most chaotic place in the whole house. So there's 5 rooms for the male staff, there's 2 laundry rooms, there's a wine cellar, and 2 laundry rooms. That's a lot. I can't imagine having to do all of that laundry, especially all of Louise's dresses. So there were refrigerators at this time, but Frederick decided to have an ice box instead because he believed that it worked much better than the refrigerator. At this time, it was great to work for Frederick and Louise. The workers were getting paid about $1.50 per day, which is $28 today, and it's double the amount of workers back then. The good thing is that they didn't have to worry about housing and food, since everything would be provided by the Vanderbilts. Frederick passes away in 1938, leaving about $78 million. Half of it goes to the inheritance tax passed in 1930. He leaves $1,000 to each worker that had been working with him for over 10 years, which at the time could buy you a house in Hyde Park. Frederick leaves the house to his niece, Margaret Van Allen. At this time, World War II is starting, and the house sits on the market for 2 years with the highest offer of $80,000. Margaret declines this offer and decides to give the house to the government under the condition that it would become a state park. And the state park opened in 1940. Frederick Vanderbilt really wanted big trees and exotic trees in his property. So all the trees, including this one, all of them were brought in from different places because the trees that naturally grow here, he saw them as very small and not as exotic. So these were brought in and picked out by him. Well, it's truly, the trees here are huge, which is just a symbol of the wealth and the huge power these people had in the country. Vanderbilt had flower shows in Poughkeepsie, which is like 20 minutes away, and around this area, and he seemed to be a fanatic about his gardens because he had 3 different landscapers to build and work on this space alone. Vanderbilts would have most likely gotten to this house by boat through the Hudson River. So thank you for coming along with me, and I hope you enjoyed all the clips and all the images that you saw. Goodbye. They were making that sound the whole tour.